It is time, because the time has run out. We're just going to hand out another trophy now.
It is a final for San Diego State, the mid-major outsider, UConn. More natties than any school over the past 25 years. That number is up to 5 now. The last college basketball game of the season. Covering it all to start, Reese Davis and his game day crew down in Houston. Reese?
John, Nicole, thank you very much. 76-59, the final. UConn wins its 5th national championship. It's 4th in the state of Texas, and they're now 5-0 in national championship games. Honored to be alongside my good friends Jay Billis, Seth Greenberg, and LaFonso Ellis. UConn came into the season unranked, started 14-0, the midseason slide, and they add another chapter, what is a really rich legacy now with the 4th most titles all time.
And dominant, just dominant. It was a game that was incredibly physical. Everything was difficult. UConn turned it over at times, and San Diego State made a run in the second half, but they had an answer for everything. And I thought Andre Jackson Jr., some of the passes that he made, in transition, dropping the ball back, he did it to Jordan Hawkins for a 3, Joey Calcaterra, and to have a guy like that you can plug into anything, like the ultimate utility guy, and the way they protected the lane, protected the rim. San Diego State had to pitch a shutout every time they were on defense, and you can't do that for 40 minutes. They just couldn't find ways to score, but you have to give credit to UConn's defense. Although I thought UConn won the game on defense more than anything.
The thing that blew my mind is every single time in this tournament they were pushed a little bit. Miami cut it to 7. Boom, they answered. Today, let's face it now, San Diego State cut it to 5.
Yes.
Cut it to 5, and they were backpedaling. And all Jordan Hawkins does is come off that dribble handoff, boom, gets behind the ball, lifts up, and knocks down that 3, and the game is over. But they just said 5 national championships since 1999. 5 national championships. All this blue blood thing. In this generation, Connecticut has been the most dominant championship men's basketball program. They've done it with 3 different coaches. But this dude right here, he's going to be around for a while, and this will not be his last championship because he's not wired that way. He's wired to rebuild, reload, and it's just the way he's built. If you've been at their practices, if you've been around this team, all right, everything they do is to their standard. This is just a beginning in my gut feeling.
And Seth, how about this one? Now they've won at least 1 national championship in each of the in every decade since 1999. That's absolutely incredible. And I thought a factor coming into the game, in fact, an X factor would be Tristan Newton, because I was interested to see how he would handle that pressure. And obviously he scores 19 in there, turns it over 5 times. But I thought, Seth, with about 2:30 to go, the game was kind of a little tight. He drove that bad boy right to the basket. He's 6'5" and able to finish over the top. I thought that was a momentum basket for them late.
He was a dude, huh?
He was dude of the day for College GameDay. But, the thing is, to your point of answering everything for the entire tournament, we mentioned their margins of victory. First team to win 5 games in the tournament, 5 of their 6 by 15 or more, all of their wins by double figures. They trailed for less than a minute in the second half of the entire tournament. And we talked about this on Saturday night, too, for Dan Hurley, to your point. It's been a difficult road for him. Wasn't even sure if he wanted to stay in basketball, and forever in the game he's been Bob Hurley's son or Bobby Hurley's brother, and now the identity of his own. He has something of his own that is remarkable, a national championship.
Yeah, he's going to have a really big ring to show.
That's what he said yesterday. He said, when we go to dinner, I want one of my own to show off, too.
His is going to be bigger than anything they got, because Bobby's were back in the small ring here.
But when you can actually wear them as jewelry.
Exactly. But just a remarkable story. And I was just so impressed with the start they got off to, being 14-0. They were the program that we were saying, man, UConn's for real. And then when they lost 6 out of the next 8, and it brought some doubt in. And a lot of teams would be shaken by that. There are a lot of teams that when they get off to a great start, they see their own blood, they're never really the same. And they were not only the same, they kept getting better toward the end of the season. And in the tournament, there was no doubt. I mean, maybe in the first game against Iona in the first half, we're going, geez, Iona's giving them a game. The second half blew them out. And really the first 3, maybe 4 games of the NCAA tournament, in the second halves of games, they were shooting like 60%. They just boat raced everybody. But especially here in Houston, to win both these games comfortably by double digits. And it's not easy to dribble the clock out in an NCAA tournament game. And they did it in every game. Every game they had their walk-ons in at the end. I mean, when does that happen? That's like old UCLA stuff, back when Alcindor and Walton were playing. Really a remarkable tournament for UConn.
You know, Jay, when they went through that stretch where they lost six of 8, I think that team grew up. I think Danny Hurley grew up. I think he realized a couple things, how he interacted with the officials. That, you know, that was a byproduct of how maybe his team reacted to situations during the course of the games. And then I think that he realized that, you know what, I've got to lead in a different way. I'm going to be with him because, look, the guy's from Jersey City. He's passionate. He's authentic. He's genuine. He's tough. I mean, that's just the way he was raised. That's the coach that raised him. But he also realized that he had to be a little different in terms of not get so caught up in the game and maybe things he had no control of, to focus on what he had control of. And that was his team. And I think he put all his energies into his team and basically, not totally limited, but eliminated all the outside distraction, whether it was social media, whether it was people questioning, whether it was officials in games. And he put his arms around those guys and said, I'm going to come in, I'm going to be ready to go each and every day in practice. We're going to challenge you, and we're ready for this. Instead of going in a shell when they lost 6-8, he grew. And if you watch their practices, that's how he was in practice. Like, the dude never has a bad practice.
Dude was averaging 20 points and 10 rebounds. What does he do tonight? Goes for another double-double. And Jay, it's just so hard to guard him because they don't always straight post him. The actions that they run, they get him in misdirection situations. He's screening and rolling. And just the way that they get the basketball to their offense is beautiful. But I thought they set the tone early as well. If they weren't blocking shots at the rim, they deterred a ton of shots in the first half. They actually should have been up by about 20 points. They just missed some shots in the first half.
30. They were loose with the ball at the end of the first half. They didn't finish the half the way I'm sure Danny Hurley thought they should have, because they should have been up 20, and the game should never have been in doubt. But your point on Sanogo, one of the reasons that Sanogo has space to operate is because all the weapons he has around him that spreads the floor. And they don't just spread the floor, they stretch the defense, because the defense has to stay with those guys, or all of a sudden you're going to have Hawkins nailing shots, or Caravan can shoot it from the perimeter. You put Calcaterra in, he can make threes. That really gives Sanogo some room inside. And then when you have Andre Jackson Jr., when he gets it, he can deliver it to him. Like, his passes are next level good. He's a ridiculously good passer.
You see the margin of victory, average margin of victory. UConn won every game by double figures, as we mentioned, average winning by 20. That great Kentucky team of Pitino in '96 won by 21.5. I do want, most of this night is going to be about Connecticut because they won the national championship and they deserve it. San Diego State showed remarkable resilience throughout this tournament and in this game. Probably should have been down 25 or so at halftime. They weren't. They had stretches. They put up a graphic during the broadcast that they had 4 stretches of 3 minutes or longer without a field goal. So I had our ace researcher, Gil Bransford, look at this. They went over 20 minutes of game time during the course of this game without a field goal, and yet fought through, got close enough to at least put a little game pressure on UConn in the second half.
But isn't that who they are?
It is.
I mean, they want to make it a rock fight. They're comfortable in a physical game. They have the resilience, and they saw it all through the tournament. They were down against Creighton. They were down the other night, obviously, against FAU. They still believed. I mean, only being down 12 points at half, Brian Dutch is feeling pretty good walking in that locker room. I mean, you're not happy you're down, but you're going, oh, my God, it could have been 20.
Could have been worse.
30. It could have been 30. We've been here, like, I'm sure he walked in and said, hey, we've been in here before. Let's win the first 4 minutes. We're going to attack. We're going to play downhill. We're going to get to the line. The problem is the dudes on the other end. So at the first 14 minutes of the second half, they were averaging 1.37 points per possession because they were getting to the line, they were getting to the basket. The problem is the guys on the other end were just better. But that game, they wanted to make it ugly. They pushed Connecticut out at times. They turned them over at times. They rebounded at times. I go back to the resilience of the Connecticut kids and their team. They always had an answer. Like, I know you started talking about Andre Jackson. How do you game plan or scout for that guy?
Well, you can't because of the passes he's able to make.
Oh, my God.
And, you know he can't, he doesn't shoot it, but he still is able to find people, and he reads. I mean, he's like a Gretzky-type passer.
Right.
No, reading where the guy's going to be, and he passes to where he's going to be, not just away from the defense. But, your point on San Diego State, would I have been surprised at the beginning of the tournament that they'd be in the championship game? Yes. But they're one of the few teams in the country that can win games when they don't score.
Yeah.
And their defense keeps them in it. Their offensive rebounding keeps them in it. Their grit and resilience, all that we talked about. But Connecticut's too good to be able to win a game in the 50s. You're not going to keep them in the 50s. You had to score in this game. And Connecticut's defense was too good to allow San Diego State to have a real chance to win it.
And Jay, one of the things we talked about with Connecticut is just how versatile their lineups can be. Remember, at one point they went a long stretch with Andre Jackson as the 4, and San Diego State couldn't take advantage of it. I thought they should have actually posted Keishad Johnson a couple times against Andre, and they didn't do that. And that just speaks to the versatility that they have as a team, but the versatility that they have individually with him. Andre Jackson is amazing.
They took away, not all of them, because San Diego State got some of it, but they're really good at ducking into the post. And UConn took that away for the most part. That wasn't a weapon at all for San Diego State, and they couldn't find any easy baskets. And Tristan Newton, even though he turned it over 5 or 6 times. But that dude, he was averaging 18 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists when he was at East Carolina. He's wired to score. He's a scorer.
It's two guard.
And for him to run the point all year and mature into that, and then handle that kind of pressure throughout the game. You nitpick, hey, turn it over here, turn it over there. He had a hell of a game.
19 and 10.
He had a hell of a game.
Especially the way he started, because he was pushed way out. One thing you guys said about Andre Jackson, he said he doesn't shoot. He's one of the few guys that knows he can't shoot, so he doesn't shoot. He understands, hey, they don't need me to do this. This is not who I am. This is not how I win. This is not what I bring to this team to help us be who we are. What can I do? I can rebound, I can defend, I can push the ball on a defensive rebound, and I can drop dimes and make the game easy for everyone.
I don't think this will come as any surprise to you. Adama Sanogo has been named the most outstanding player in this Final Four.
4 double-doubles in the NCAA tournament.
That'll do it every time.
Lonzo Ellis.
Been terrific. Also awaiting San Diego State coming to the podium for the post-game news conferences. We'll hear what the Aztecs have to say. That'll be just a few minutes away. Sanogo, 17 points, 10 rebounds in this one. As Fonz mentioned, one of the 4 double-doubles as UConn goes on to win. And the big picture of this now, I mean, the game was another impressive performance, but the accomplishment for UConn to come all the way back, sort of got lost in the wilderness a few years there with the coaching change and issues and the sojourn into the American Conference, sort of back home, back on their bearings now, and poised to go on a pretty good run here, one would think.
Yes, Reese, a wild question that we kept being asked all day, because I know you got to watch the show, so you did too, is the thought and the notion that they weren't a blue blood. The question was, are you kidding me? They've won 4 national titles since 1999 at that point, with an opportunity and on the precipice to win another, and they've done that. And I said, I think it's because of where they've been playing, and they've not been on our network very often. I think people just kind of forgot about just how dominant they've been. Now they get a chance to win one on CBS. Everyone watching, they'll be on the forefront of everyone's mind the way they should be as the most dominant, I almost said NBA, the most dominant NCAA tournament team since 1999.
They got a monster recruit.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.